Hello, lovely people all over the world watching my videos. Thank you so much. Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, Philippines. How are you guys? Shout out to some folks at Sugod Leyte, in Isabela, Negros, also in overseas, Doha, Qatar, also at the lights capital of the world. That's Las Vegas, in Indonesia, Malaysia, in Palawan, Turil, and in Panganiban. Thank you so much. How can I forget people of Surigao del Norte and Surigao del Sur? How are you guys? Now, let's talk about this guy, Norio Suzuki, a Japanese explorer, a college dropout, and the one who discovered the World War II hero in Japan. That's Hiroo Onoda. Now, how did Norio Suzuki found and discovered Hiroo Onoda in the dense jungle of Philippines, somewhere in the island called Lubang in Mindoro Occidental? Well, the story begins with Norio Suzuki heard about the report in the Japanese tabloids in 1972 that there are two soldiers, Japanese soldiers, shot dead in the island of the Philippines, somewhere in Mindoro Occidental, in the island called Lubang. So Rusley, he rushed and he flew to the Philippine island, and right there he encountered and he discovered face to face with the war hero in Japan, that's Hiroo Onoda. And right there Suzuki tried to convince Onoda to return to his country in Japan, but Hiroo Onoda refuses to go with Suzuki to Japan unless there is written orders from his superior, from his commander, that relieve him to his duty. And so Norio Suzuki went back to Japan, and after 2 years in negotiation with the commanding officer of Hiroo Onoda in Japan, Norio Suzuki came back to the Philippines in 1974 and successfully brought Hiroo Onoda to Japan, of course, with the permission coming from our president during that time, Ferdinand Marcos. Marcos pardoned Hiroo Onoda for his war crimes, and then gave something to Ferdinand Marcos as a token for giving him pardon. He gave his very special sword to Ferdinand Marcos, the official katana of Japanese Imperial Army. That's a samurai sword. And look at the side of Marcos. There she is, the most famous Imelda Marcos. And while we are so busy looking for gold in our treasure hunting, Mrs. Marcos, Imelda Marcos, is also going crazy collecting her 1,000 pairs of shoes, sandals, bags, and everything that glitters. Is just like music to her ears. By the way, Mrs. Imelda Marcos in her prime was the most beautiful first lady in the history of the Philippines. When we are talking about the first lady, wives of the presidents in the Philippines, Mrs. Imelda Marcos is the most beautiful. She represents the essence of a Filipina, the Filipina beauty at her best, wearing the Maria Clara outfit or the Maria Clara dress during the 80s. She is the most beautiful first lady of them all in the history of the Philippines. Now let's go back to Norio Suzuki, the explorer who's responsible for bringing the Japanese World War II hero go back to Japan, Hiroo Onoda, during 1974. He was also a good golfer and athlete, and he searched for wild panda in China, and also he is searching for the abominable snowman, or better known as the Yeti in Himalayas. In Western world, it is called the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot. And I got a trivia for you guys. Did you know that the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, or the Yeti are the remnants of the so-called Nephilim giants during the realm or the time of Noah? That's 12,000 BC before Christ. These giants called the Nephilim walk on the face of earth together with humans, with Noah, and there are conspiracy theory that these Nephilim giants helped Noah and his sons to build an ark for the deluge, the upcoming flood. The flood that will last for about 1,600 years. The earth will be flooded, and unfortunately, those Nephilim giants were drowned on that flood. That's why their remnants right now might be this Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, and even the folks in the Bible, the giant in the Bible, the giant called Goliath, and the other giant called Samson. And some people ask, is there any gold with Noah in the Noah's Ark? Did Noah and his sons bring gold to the Noah's Ark? Well, the answer is no. There is no gold in Noah's Ark, because in Genesis chapter 9 verse 19, God does not specifically command Noah to take gold with him. This is what God commands him in Genesis chapter 9 verse 19. And of every living things of all flesh you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark to keep them alive with you. Meaning, take a pair of animals into the Noah's ark, a male and a female of kinds. Children ask, how many pairs of animals are with Noah inside the ark? Well, the answer is there are 70 species of animals inside the Noah's ark. And children ask, is there any gold kept by the giants? Well, the answer is yes. According to the fairy tales, giants also kept some gold with them. Example, the golden harp and the golden egg in the fairy tale of the Jack. Well guys, let's go back to our topic, the man of the hour, Mr. Norio Suzuki, the explorer, the golfer, and the man who found and discovered our hero here, Mr. Hiroo Onoda. Well, the cause of death of Mr. Norio Suzuki was the avalanche in the Himalayas. When he was searching for that Yeti, that Bigfoot in the Himalayas, suddenly there was a avalanche. November 1986, he was just 36 years old, very young man, explorer, adventurer, died during the search for the folklore, the myth of the Bigfoot. It's called the Yeti in the Himalayas. And now guys, let us make our topic a little bit interesting by looking deeper into Mr. Onoda's own makeshift, his own foxhole or his own tunnel. What is the design of his tunnel? Why he survived inside his tunnel for 28 years? Well, some people ask if Mr. Onoda, a struggler, a guardian of a treasure, what is the purpose why he was left behind by his official? So let's examine carefully his tunnel here, why he survived for 29 years almost So here's the design. There is a main entrance which is 2.5 meters in depth. There is also a ventilating hole or a vent where the air can pass through and get in for Mr. Onoda to have a good breath. And the area of his tunnel is just 3 meters by 1 meter. At Tagalog muna tayo guys at ating usisain at ating tingnan mabuti ang tunnel na ito. Ang tunnel na ito ay typical na design ng mga tunnel na nilalagyan ng treasure. Kasi ito ay meron siyang direktang vertical entrance or vertical shaft, and then meron siyang horizontal tunnel sa loob na doon ilalagay yung kung meron mang treasure of boxes or hoards of gold. Ang mga Japanese struggler, sabi ng father ko na isa ding treasure hunter, ay nagpapaiwan talaga yung mga struggler na yan kasi meron silang binabantayan na treasure, merong tinatago ang kanilang superior, yung kanilang general. Example, si Yamashita ay merong binabantayan sa kanya na binabaon na treasure doon sa kanilang tunnel. Kaya siya nagpapaiwan kasi balikan din ito kapag sila ay manalo sa giyera. Kaya yun ang role ng strugglers. Pero sa ibang side naman, in the other side of the story, yung mga struggler ay survivors in war na naghintay lang ng kanilang orders to be relieved in their duties. The foxhole of Mr. Onoda is a typical foxhole of every Japanese soldier. This is a special design for them to survive for longer period of time. Even in Guam, there is also a struggler named Yukoi, and this one also, this Japanese soldier survived for almost 20 years in Guam. And then look at the design of their tunnel. They are very similar. So what do you think if these two soldiers buried and left treasures or hoard of gold inside their tunnel? The way you will recover it is very typical, meaning pareho ang approach ng pagkuha ng treasure kung parehong official ang nagbaon tulad ni Onoda at ni Yukoi. Ngayon, the question is, why is that Onoda is back in the Philippines after 19 years of silence in Japan? Bumalik siya sa Pilipinas at nag-donate siya ng school yata or pera doon sa Lubang. Ito yung video ng bumalik siya after 19 years nang bumalik siya ng Japan, and then he came back to the Philippines and tried to help people in Lubang, gave them some money donation. I might be wrong in my opinion, but you might be right too. Maybe Mr. Onoda is a good Samaritan, a good man, that's why he come back. But in the other side of my head, the thought is very different. And well, to know more about Mr. Onoda's life and story here in the Philippines during the World War II and the 28 years of hiding inside the tunnel and running away from the locals in the forest of Lubang, well, just watch the end part of this movie for more information about this guy, Mr. Hiroo Onoda, the war veterans World War II and the war hero in World War II in Japan. And that's the end of my presentation. Hope you like that one. At salamat sa inyong panonood. Till next time, see ya. God bless. Be safe. Stay out from COVID. And don't stop chasing for that dreams. Ciao for now.